Hello and welcome back. Today is the 13th day of October, which means the prompt for the day was moon, and this is all part of my October3D sculpting challenge. I'm going to put the rest of the prompts up now. For anybody just joining us, you can see at the end of the week, we're going to be able to make a graveyard from all the previous sculpts we've done. If anyone would like to share anything they've created during this sculpting challenge, please use the hashtag October3D 2022, and I'll be able to find it on Instagram. Okay. Let's go grab your iPad and let's go make a moon. Alright, let's get the moon made. So we're going to delete this one because these are not, the default sphere is not the real thing. So we're going to get rid of that and put in a UV sphere. And then let's subdivide it so it's clean. Alright, now it kind of depends how you want to do this. I'm just going to show you one way to do it because we haven't messed with texture maps at all. So let's do that this time. And it's a little different. You're going to use the paint menu, which we've used a lot, and you can see here you just have the white alpha, and in here we got the material. Now we're going to change something in here, and it's going to be the texture map, and you have the three basic ones in here. So we're going to import one, and we're going to import a file. Now I just went online and went to Pexels and found this, and I'll see if I can find a link for it because it has the number on it here. So it's that Pexels Pixabay 47367. If you want to use the exact same one, that's fine. Okay, so we have the texture map in there. Now we don't want, obviously want that silver material, so let's go, the moon's pretty dull, so let's do just kind of a dull gray, and that's fine. And paint all. Now we're going to go ahead and use the paint tool and see what happens. Okay, so not quite what we need yet. So we'll turn off symmetry. So now we have this alpha in, but we need to go in here and change, when you go down to the bottom of this, the paint menu, the stroke type, change it to dynamic radius. Alright, so now let's see if that's going to be right. And that's it right there. That looks pretty good. Although I think our color might be a little dark, so let's lighten the color up. And I would probably go towards yellowish orange gray, just because that's the color that the sun actually reflects. There we go. That's much better. Go to the front, pull our texture again, and that's pretty good. We got a lot of fall off on the side. So let's change that. So that's the next thing you want to change is your preset. And I'm just going to go to like full bore, flat, going to give you everything. And that's it right there. That looks much better. And the moon kind of sits like that-ish, somewhere in there. And that's good enough. Now if you want, we can paint on the backside just so you have something back there. And it doesn't really matter too much because when we set this up, you won't see it a lot. But let's go ahead and mask this off so we don't overpaint too much. So we'll put it about right there so it'll all get painted, but we won't overpaint. And we can go to the back and drag this one more time, and then it won't matter where we're at. Let's clear the mask. And like I said, you can do that just so it's there, but it's not going to be seen when you get set in your scene. And if you want to blend it in, that's fine too. It's a little more work, but you can do it. Alright, so we'll clear that out. Oops. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now if you want, we can also do a stamp and give it a little bit more texture and a little more depth to your image. And make sure I have an environment on. So we'll move this around a little bit so we can see maybe. If we want to do that, we'll go in and change the alpha. So I already have it in here. And this is the way it would come in right now. And it doesn't matter a whole lot, but it's all out and it's hard to see. We'll come in and change this to opposite, and then it puts holes in it, and I hope you can see that a little bit better. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it'll give your moon a little more depth when we're lighting it. So that looks good there. All right, we'll just leave that. And you can make this as perfect or not as you want. That's totally up to you. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to show you, this is kind of the bonus, because that's it for the moon really. We go to put it in a scene, but when you pull it out like this, it's like, yeah, not really anything to write home about, right? Because there's nothing else there. So I'm going to show you how to do a buttery smooth backdrop with the nice curve, and then we can set everything in the scene for that later. Okay, so we're going to go in and let's just turn him off. We're going to add a cylinder, and you're like, well, that's not going to make much of a backdrop, but it will in just a second. Just bear with me. So turn on the hole, and we'll leave that on just one. That way both of these move at the same time. Top and bottom are the same. All right, now we're going to leave it on the top view. We're going to zoom in, and you'll see we have the grid. Now yours won't be blue and red yet until they finally release the full version of 1.66. I'm still in the beta test. Yours will all be white, but the same thing. Now we're going to increase the subdivision, validate it, and we're going to use the trim tool and turn off symmetry, use the rectangle, and we're going to come in, and we only need this quarter of it right here. So bring it right up to the line and cut it. And bring another one in, bring it over right to the line and cut it. Missed that one just a hair. Right there. Now what we want to do, use the select mask, and we're just going to mask just the very end of it right there. Right there. Then you can tap on it and you'll see it switches. Now let's zoom out a little bit. It doesn't really matter, it's going to enlarge itself. So let's pull this out a little ways. Alright, now go to the mask, clear the mask. We're going to select mask again and just grab the end of it. Tap on it and you'll see it switch on your masking. Pull this out. Clear the mask. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the wire mesh. We'll go ahead and enlarge this. Whoops. Go ahead and enlarge this guy quite a bit. And it doesn't matter, it depends on how thick you want it to be. It doesn't really matter too much. Let's go back to the front view and let's just get this, put snap on and just snap it to place. And we'll snap it this way. And you've already got gizmo selected, hit that menu, move to origin. And we'll just move it up until it's right just above your grid line. Now you can see you have a super buttery smooth transition line, and when you go to place something in here, it's going to look really, really good. Now let's take a look at the wire. So now you can see it's been stretched because that's normal mesh and this isn't. So let's go ahead and I'll show you why that's important. So once again, I went on Pexels, found another image I wanted to use. So we'll go in here and go to the paint and we'll change the texture. I'm going to add, import another file. This is another one I found, and it's just stars, and Pexels is free to use, so they have all kinds of really cool stuff you can use. So this one's just a star background, and I'm going to paint the whole thing, but what you're going to notice something really strange about this, that the stars right there look good, but everything else looks like it's going at warp speed. So, and I'm sure you understand by now, that's because the wire is stretched. It's just long lines, so the pixels get stretched out. So let's improve that. And we'll do the voxel mesh and 500-ish. That's just kind of my normal go-to, but that will increase the looks of your paint now. And we can just pull it on. And you don't necessarily need stars down here, but this is just so we kind of get everything painted. And then, why does that look like it has a line in it? I do have a line on it, so we'll do it again. That's okay. There we go. Okay. This all later on in the week will get covered by the whole graveyard scene, but this way we have a nice backdrop that we can put the moon into. So I'm going to increase the size a bit, and I just want this thing rather large. That way when we put the moon in it, we got plenty of room to light it and make it look good. So now we have a nice scene. Now let's add, now you're going to see that the moon is a fairly small little guy. So I'm going to fix my pivot. There we go. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I want to actually select the moon. There we go. So I'm just going to put it over to the left here, just for composition's sake. You can put it wherever you would like, but that's where I want it. So you can put it in your back of your scene, you put it off the side. I'm going to put it right there so it's kind of off the stars. Now I'm going to leave it fairly small. Let's enlarge it a little bit. That looks good. It really depends on your scene. Now let's just add a light to it and we'll be done. And this one's going to be really easy. So just add a light, and we're going to put it right here. And I'm going to use the spotlight because I just want to light up one edge instead of the directional light. And it's just a matter of getting your light placed, and there we go. Now you see we have the shadow on the back, which we don't want. So you can increase your softness and sharpness. We soften the light up as much as it'll go, and then you can change the cone size. So we'll change it to about right here. Let's pin that open so I can keep it locked. Alright, so that's pretty good right there. But I want to change the color, and I do want it a little bit further out. There we go. Not like that. Just the main thing is you don't want the shadow on the backdrop. That won't look right. Okay. Now, I think what we should do is I'm going to move the moon down and down a little bit. So let's grab that and these two and move them down a little bit. Move it over. There we go. That's better. That way when you zoom in, when we're done with our final scene, that later in the week, that you'll have a good place for it. And it looks like to me we need to grab the cylinder and stretch it out. The good thing about the star scene is it's not going to be terribly noticeable. It'll pixelate a little bit, but that way we can move things a little bit. Light moon, I mean. Move it over a little bit. And you can see we have a bit of a shadow right there. So we can fix that now. And it's just a matter of putting your light in the right spot and adjusting how much adjusting where your light is, how intense it is, and if the light's a little bit lower and shining up, it'll kind of cast right off the edge of that. And oh, that's why I ended up moving it in too much. So let's take the cylinder and we'll just move it back a little bit, get it off, get the moon off the backdrop. Next thing I'm going to do is change the color. So I want kind of like a harvest bloody moon look to it. So something like that. Now this will also help with that back. It'll still be there a little bit, but it won't be as noticeable. So, and once you turn the environment off, or adjust it so the environment here depends on which one you got. Like this one's probably the better one. Now if we bring the exposure down, that backdrop back there, you can only see it from one angle anyway, so that gives you a nice blood harvest moon look. So if we look here and take that off and go into this mode, you know what, it'd be easier just to do this. So if you want to see what these look like, you know, see what your scene looks like, you can just take 4 fingers, tap on the screen, and it'll minimize everything for you. Oops. If we touch it again, turn off the grid, and there you go. Oops, I still have that selected. Unselect everything, and now you can kind of see your scene already. Okay, I'll see you in the next video for the grave scene, and we'll put it all together from the week. All right. If you guys are enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.